virtual ones. Our good friend Alex Erpy, who comes on this network all the time. In fact, he hosts a show on Thursdays called Today y Mañana, which spotlights the Latino community in Central Virginia. He calls virtual communication just that, not as good. The essence of the word virtual means it's not as good. And when you put virtual in front of communication, he says, it's not as good as if we were in person. Peter is in person, and I'm excited for that, Peter.
I'm so excited to be able to spend time in person with you, and I'm fully vaccinated.
Me too.
What a modern miracle, really.
Right?
That we're able to do that, and it's the kind that changes lives. It's not this abstract, atomic level thing.
Amen. Changes lives, improves mental health, quality of life. I feel like everyone's mental health is getting a little bit better every single day in 2021. Don't you feel like?
Yes. Slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely, Peter. Amen, brother.
We're all about the quality of life and health and wellness.
This guy is a good man. If you have any questions for Peter, props, praise, if you want to challenge us on the feed, as long as it's respectful, we're open to being challenged on the feed. We're live on every social platform possible. Just put your comments in the comment section, and I will relay them on air to Peter Krebs. Judah Wickower, we can start this program in T-minus 7 seconds. You feeling good, Peter?
Mm-hmm.
Good. He's got the big screen with the presentation tool on the big screen. I like it, Peter Krebs. We're going to talk Biscuit Run. We'll talk Three Notch Trail. We'll talk Rivanna River. We'll talk about being outside, bicycle and pedestrian safety. This Biscuit Run Park has certainly been a topic on the network. Peter has a lot of insight he can offer there. It's going to be a good show. Peter, questions coming in for you already.
Excellent.
I love this.
I love
it. Oh, this is so cool. Judah, we can start when you are ready, my friend. Good Friday afternoon, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love Seville show. Thank you kindly for joining us. Truly grateful to connect with you guys through social media. We're doing our best to use social media for the good, and the whole concept of the I Love Seville network is to use social media to shine a positive spotlight on Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and in Central Virginia. We're powered thanks to folks like Ting Fiber Internet, Interstate Pest and Service Companies, Cameron Limousine, Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine, all locally owned businesses and brands. Judah Wickower is our director, and folks, it's my pleasure to welcome Peter Krebs to the set. His second rodeo, this rodeo in person, and it's exciting for me and for Judah to be able to do this face-to-face with you, Peter. First, I want to thank you for joining us.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here, and especially happy to be in a space with you, right? The virtual is good, but it's limited, right? And we could get so much more by being together. And glad you're healthy, glad I'm healthy, glad we're here.
Amen.
Yes, amen.
Well said. So Peter Krebs, before we talk shop, how about a personal introduction for you for everyone that's watching?
Yeah, so I grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland. I'm a walker, a runner. I ride a bike occasionally. I bike to work, actually. In fact, this is Bike Month. A week from today is Bike to Work Day, so we'll be setting up a little bike to work station. But anyway, enough about Bike Month. So I've lived in Charlottesville since 2009, and I'm a community organizer for the Piedmont Environmental Council.
I love it. So folks, you can offer questions, comments, or perspective to Peter by putting them in the feed. We will get to Donna's statement. We'll get to Grace's statement. Laura's question here for you, Peter. They're already coming in.
Awesome.
Barbara Lundgren, welcome to the broadcast. Hello. Lauren, hello, and thank you for joining us. All right, why don't we talk the Three Notch Trail petition that went absolutely viral in this community last week.
Yeah, so there's a group of advocates locally who are working with a whole variety of partners to extend the Virginia Capitol Trail, which is an awesome trail from Williamsburg to Richmond to Charlottesville, and then Crozet, Afton, and the Shenandoah Valley. It's more than just a group of advocates, though. This has been a part of the county's vision for a long time. But right now, it's sort of in a place where it's a compelling idea. And so the next step is going to be to define what that might look like, where it might run. That stuff's very up in the air right now. So there was a petition about 2 weeks ago to work with VDOT to do a feasibility study to a little bit define more specifically how this three-notch trail might work. And it just exploded. In a couple of days, they got over 4,000 signatures.
Right.
Vast majority are Albemarle County residents. The majority of the balance is from Charlottesville, and then people from all over the Commonwealth and around the nation signed on right away to this. So this petition was forwarded on to the Board of Supervisors. There's a Daily Progress article about it a couple days ago. It came out Sunday, I think. You could check that out. And if you want to learn more about this petition and hear about the idea in their words, just Google Three-Notch Trail and you'll find your way there. I'm super excited about the idea because, first of all, it's an amazing idea to ride your bike from the Bay to the Blue Ridge and beyond.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and attainable. If you visit the Capitol Trail, which this would be an extension of, tons of businesses form along the trail. Folks in some of the rural communities in between were a little bit leery. Now they're clamoring to be a part of it. So there are some cases where, for example, a landowner would build a fence between the trail and their property, and then soon they put a gate in that fence. So, but we know walking and biking is good for our bodies, it's good for our minds, it's good for our souls, I'd go so far as to say, good for economic development. And now in the era of COVID, or ever
Safe.
since, yes, it's a safe place to be and good for families and just an all-around win opportunity if we can make it happen.
Thank you, Vanessa Parkhill, for watching. Marco Sanchez, Camila Priest. You have the CVille Weekly and the Daily Progress watching you on the show. Your colleagues at Piedmont Environmental Council just shared the broadcast.
Awesome.
Sean Wick and Amber Griggs are watching. 5 states watching Peter Krebs on the I Love CVille show. The reality or the likelihood of the Three-Notch Trail coming to fruition and then the next steps to make that happen.
Yeah, so the Three-Notch Trail is a big idea, both in terms of geography, in terms of getting your mind around it, and in terms of time. So I'm 100% of the belief that this trail is going to happen.
100%.
Yeah, eventually it'll happen. The question is how do we get from the reality that we're in where it doesn't exist to the reality that we want where it does exist? And so locking down some of those key issues, and VDOT's on board to do this type of study, that's the next step. And so that would be probably, maybe it would take a year to do that study. Tons of community conversations would be a part of that. And we're hoping to get this thing in while we're still in a moment at the federal level where there's huge interest in infrastructure, huge interest in the outdoors, parks, all this stuff. Like, this is a good moment to be doing this kind of work.
Why is the bicycle bicycle, pedestrian, walker, runner safety, it seems to be crescendoing more than ever from an awareness and being in our vocabulary and being a hot button issue. Is that a direct result of COVID?
It is partially a result of COVID. That's a major factor. I really think it's important to acknowledge folks who have been in the trenches for a long time, putting this in front of our eyes, in front of our minds. And so I and the other people working today are on the shoulders of geniuses. And interest in health, interest in the environment. It's so important to find ways to get around without using fossil fuels. It's a lot of factors coming together right at this moment. And by the way, also a moment when economic development is very much in front of people's minds, and a vision of economic development that works in a harmonious triangle with those other things. Economics that are built on being healthy, productive, clear of mind, able to show up to work and kick butt while you're there, and ability to spend time with your family with equal vigor and equal reward. So yeah, this is a good time to do this work.
So if you got comments, questions, you want to relay to Peter, put them in the feed. We are live on every social media platform possible. In fact, we're live on 15 Facebook pages, 15 Twitter accounts, and you can times it by 15 on every social out there. So comments are coming in already for you. Peter, do you see the trail system, and this is coming from Drew, do you see the trail system being strictly an Albemarle County trail system, and how are the different municipalities in Central Virginia welcoming to a trail system, a biking system that could go across all the region?
Yeah, so that's such an important question, and we got to that just a little bit, where the work that we're doing at the Piedmont Environmental Council is about creating a community that transcends borders between the city, the county.
The various counties.
Various counties. Yeah. Nobody mentioned UVA, but they're like an entity unto themselves. So we've worked hard over the last couple of years to create a mechanism for city, county, UVA, state, nonprofit organizations, businesses working together. So yes, it's a interjurisdictional process. Yes, it's an intersectoral process. So again, businesses, nonprofits, governments working together, and also bringing different types of people together. Like we're working with doctors. I had an hour-long meeting with a doc yesterday about this stuff. We're working with affordable housing groups. We're working with everybody to make a better community.
Bill McChenzie, welcome to the broadcast. Folks outside Hendersonville, North Carolina on the feed. This comes via Twitter. Mm-hmm. This is from Brian. Jerry, you said yesterday and last week on your show that economic development is how you can potentially get bicycle safety and bicycle trails in this community much quicker because the municipalities are struggling with their budgets post-COVID. Please ask your guest if you're right.
I won't say that it is the fastest way, but it's an essential way, and we've had success locally in that way. So, for example, we worked with the folks at Willow Tree, developer Brian Roy, and the Albemarle County Office for Economic Development to get a pedestrian bridge at the wool factory. We've been fighting for decades, probably. Thinking about it as an economic development project makes for a better work situation for Willow Tree employees, and the community gets a park. It's perfect. So it's an essential way to do it. But we're also working with a hospital. So I don't know, will we get there quicker making the money case or the health case or the finances of health case? You know, all of it. We have to bring it all.
This comes in via YouTube. Why would we not want to connect to the Capitol Trail? Who is holding this up from happening if VDOT is giving the green light? Mm-hmm. VDOT hasn't As VDOT, is that accurate, that comment?
So I don't think it would be accurate to say VDOT has given the green light.
That's not accurate.
There's precision matters when we're speaking, and I'm always careful about saying what other people want or what other people are doing or where they are. What is accurate is that VDOT has offered to do a feasibility study for this three-notch trail. And I and other stakeholders are also working with other localities, not just Albemarle County, not just Charlottesville. We're working with Fluvanna, we're working with Henrico, we're working with Goochland, we're working that whole space in between. And each locality is in its own different place.
The viewer in Hendersonville says, we travel based on bicycle trails and bicycle tourism.
Mm-hmm.
This is a no-brainer for an area that we love. Jerry, I went to school at the University of Virginia. We love to return to Seville, and there's nothing we would better like than return with our bikes.
That sounds
That's someone from North Carolina.
That resonates. And by the way, there's some great places to bike down in North Carolina, particularly in the Research Triangle. But yeah, people want to come to a place that's a great place to walk and bike. You know why? Because they're great places to be.
Right.
And so
the quality of life is good.
So yes, it's about attracting people, but I think the way we get to enhancing tourism is by enhancing conditions for the people who are here, and folks come.
Well said. Because if the people are here are enjoying it, then the folks from outside the area will enjoy it.
Correct. And it's not a success if it's not mainly about people who are here.
Okay, so here's a very pointed question for you. Are we, if we're huge proponents for bicycle riding in this community, both of us. I love it, you love it. Are we much more likely to get, say, a branded trail system like we talked about last time, just that's in Albemarle County, where bicycle riders, runners, and walkers can go, that maybe connect various breweries and wineries, that's just in Albemarle? Are we likely to get that first, or are we more likely to get this connector to the Capitol Trail first? The physical connector to the Capitol Trail is a decade of work, realistically. So I think one could have a series of signs like a Brew Ridge Trail or something like that. Sooner than 10 years.
A branded thing can be achieved sooner.
Yeah. Okay. Olivia Branch,
using
welcome to the show.
Existing infrastructure, right? Like infrastructure takes a while.
So is that the better approach then? Let's get the proof of performance, or both at the same time?
Both. We have to do the infrastructure, we have to do the culture, and we have to do the policy. We talked a little bit about policy and laws last time. We need all three.
With the three-notch trail, what needs to happen from a policy and local government standpoint?
So really that next step is going to be to do this feasibility study. One sort of concrete step that I think could get us closer to that is that the county currently has an open position for a Greenways coordinator. So there's every reason to think that position will be filled promptly. It was frozen along with everything during COVID, but now as we're coming out of COVID, I think that's a very concrete step that could help us move toward having the three-notch trail, but also move closer to everything else that we're talking about that we want to see in the county, like the Biscuit Run connector, the Old Mills Trail extension, all that stuff. This would be a big step forward.
So what does the Greenways coordinator do?
Yeah, so I haven't read the position description lately, but generally they would, from my perspective, serve two important ways. One would be to do the work to make Greenways happen, applying for grants, working with site plan reviews, coordinating project management, and that kind of thing. But the other thing that they serve that's invisible and a little bit missing is they're the hat on the project, right? Like anybody that has run a business or done something hard, it's really essential to get a hat on any given project. That's how stuff gets done. And as long as there's sort of a hole or a gap where normally there'd be that, hat, progress is going to be slower than we want.
Questions, props, or perspective for Peter Krebs? Put them in the comment section on any social media, and I will relay them on air. The Piedmont Environmental Council just retweeted the show on Twitter.
Awesome.
Is that Mario? Is that Marco?
Could be Marco.
Marco, you're doing
out.
a hell of a job. He's
Thanks,
the communications guy, right? Good job, Marco.
Yeah,
very nicely done.
He's a master of communications.
So this one you're going to appreciate right here. This is from Jennifer Sherling. She says, Jerry, I'm here for Biscuit Run. Let's get to Biscuit Run.
Okay.
She's telling us what to do. I love that, Jennifer. That's fine with us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we don't need to write an agenda. They just
that's how it goes here. They tell us.
That's the way it needs to be. And by the way, we're here to respond to what people want.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Biscuit Run Park.
Should we do broad stroke?
Yeah. So I'll fill people a little bit what it is. So Biscuit Run is a big parcel of land south of,
He's going to put a map on screen,
put
a Google map.
Yeah.
So that's what folks are seeing right now is the Google map.
Okay. So it's a big parcel of land south of Charlottesville, about a mile south of 64.
It's right by Wegmans.
Right, just south of Wegmans.
Yeah.
Gigantic park. The county is working to open soon. Right now it's slated to open in a minimal way in the probably summer or fall of 2022. And when I say a minimal way...
So next year.
Correct.
Okay.
So the minimal way, as it's currently understood, means having a parking lot, a minimal parking lot, maybe gravel, maybe paved, but a simple parking lot, simple restrooms, and then trails that are built in cooperation between the county and citizens. So that is currently slated for fall of 2022. Additionally, what for me opening Biscuit Run means is having it have a parking lot and open and welcoming to all the people that live around it. So if you can drive to Biscuit Run and yet you can also see it, you should just be walking to the park. So to do that, we're working with the homeowners along the Biscuit Run corridor, that would be Mill Creek and Foxcroft primarily, to repurpose the old roadbed as a trail that would indeed connect Wegmans to the park. So
that trail, when you go into Wegmans, you've been to Wegmans.
Mm-hmm.
When you go into Wegmans and you park in that side parking lot at Wegmans, and you can kind of look up in the woods, there's a trail that you see people walking, hiking, and kind of like biking.
Right.
Is that the trail?
So something like that.
Okay.
Would be, yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah, so right now there's no official access to the park. We're working with the county to make that an official entrance to the park. So then, rather than, even if you have to drive to get to the park, why not park at Wegmans, walk to the park,
Yeah.
go back, grab your groceries, grab a coffee from the cafe, like Wegmans.
Sure.
I just said I don't speak for other people, but folks at Wegmans have been very positive about this idea. It makes a lot of sense.
It would drive business for them.
Yeah, exactly.
And people could conceivably get on, because like Willoughby on 5th Street, you could connect on that trail system over there. If that actually happens, you could connect to the park from just about, not anywhere, but a lot of places.
Yeah, and so then the other entrance to the park that I want to see is an entrance on Hickory Street.
Where's that?
It's off of 5th Street Extended, behind, I believe it's the Covenant School.
Okay.
That's over there, county office building in
Oh,
Southwood.
gotcha. Okay.
So then folks who live in the 5th Street corridor could easily get in as well. And so I've talked to tons and tons of people about it. I've eaten in all the restaurants around there. I've been to all the businesses. So I was in one of the restaurants, which I love, but I'm not plugging anybody.
Okay.
But I was saying, would you guys be interested in having a trail that follows this stream, connecting, Wegmans, but also the park, also Hickory, also Foxcroft? And the manager said, are you kidding? Would I like that? I have employees who would ride their bike tomorrow to work if I had this trail. So yes, it's park access, but it's also jobs access for people. And that's what I mean, like economic development, recreation, health.
Everything.
All of it.
Why has the park been, for lack of a better phrase, put on ice for so long?
Yeah, so the park came into the county system in a little bit of a complicated way. It was slated to be a state park, and the county executed a 100-year lease to operate it as a county park. So there was some confusion for a while as to who would build the park, and who builds the park has a physical, like who's digging the holes, and who's paying for the park. All that stuff had to be worked out.
That's got to be Albemarle, right?
So now Albemarle is the one that's building the park. They're funding it. They're looking for assistance from the Commonwealth and other people. And which, by the way, is one of those things that Greenways coordinator could help with, is there is recreational access monies at the federal and state level. Let's go get it.
We're talking 1,200 acres here. So this might be a dumb question.
Right.
1,200 acres. How expensive is 1,200 acres to maintain for a municipality like Albemarle?
Yeah, so I don't have a number for what the maintenance costs. It depends on the level of execution of the park. So having just a county property that has no trespassing signs around it has a maintenance cost, and having 1,200 acres of ball fields costs X amount, and this would be somewhere in between, I would say, on the low end, because at least in this initial stage, it's just trails, which are going to be built with and maintained with both citizen and government resources.
Okay, here's another question, and my wife asked this question. How does this park in size comparison compare to the other parks in Albemarle? I mean, like Walnut Creek Park is a massive park.
Right.
Is this larger than Walnut? I guess I could research that real quick here.
I wish I had.
I could do that.
Knew the answers, but I'm guessing it's comparable to a rural park of Preddy Creek, Walnut Creek.
I love Preddy Creek. So Walnut Creek is 525 acres.
So twice as large.
So Biscuit Run is twice as large. So I'll look up Preddy Creek. That's another one.
Yeah.
Size. Go ahead.
Look up Central Park.
571 for Preddy.
So bigger than...
This is twice the size of Preddy. What's the other one you wanted me to look at?
Bigger than both of them combined.
Yeah.
And right on the edge of town. Look up Central Park.
Central Park, Albemarle County?
No, New York.
Oh, Central Park, New York. Sorry. I got to get out of this Central Virginia region, Peter. Central Park size. Okay, here we go. 1.317 square miles. I wish it had acreage. 843 acres.
So even significantly larger
than Central
Park.
So this is a humongous park.
It's a humongous park.
And it's doing nothing.
Well, I won't say it's doing nothing. Like, animals are living there. It's making oxygen.
Can I say this? It's doing nothing for Albemarle County residents?
It's yes.
That's fair.
Except they're breathing the oxygen.
They're breathing the oxygen.
But, yeah, it's not living up to its potential.
Right.
And it's not living up to its easily attainable potential.
My friend Elliot Harding, lifetime resident of this area, he's an attorney. He's also helping with our campaign for Board of Supervisors. Mm-hmm. He envisions one of the good uses of this park would be take a small sliver of it and turn it into like a music venue and have some live music there. So, what are your best uses?
So the county has a master plan. And so in terms of getting stuff done, I think being stuck in stage one about, what is this park for, is the type of stuff that slows stuff down, especially here in Charlottesville. We have trouble executing our plans. So the county, the county has a good master plan. It's not perfect, but we need to get on with it. So the master plan is mainly leaving the woods alone, having trails. They are, I think, planning to eventually build some soccer fields on one side, but predominantly it's going to keep, making oxygen like it is, going to keep having animals live there, but it's going to be legal for people to go there. And right now, I can't tell people to go there. Awesome resource, larger than Central Park, right on the edge of town, waiting for people, and they can't do it yet. We need to get it open.
Christopher Pasco writes this comment. Jerry, you're telling me there's a 1,200-acre park in Albemarle that I didn't know about that no one can use, and our tax dollars are going to maintain this park. Is this right?
Not exactly. The tax dollars are not maintaining the park, except in the most minimal.
Yeah, because we're not using it right now.
Correct.
Yeah. All it's doing now is not conceivably providing an amenity value for residents.
But I'm glad that he raised that. So there is a cost to having the park not be open, which is people going there, using it in an unauthorized way, maybe making trails that the county can and will make. Litter still needs to be picked up. I was back there one time visiting a PC property adjacent to that park, and folks have made marks on trees to show where these unofficial trails are, and that activity needs to stop. But it's an activity that's inevitable as long as this park is
unsupervised.
It's unsupervised,
yeah.
And when it gets open to the public, then we can get to work removing invasive species. We can really manage the landscape.
Use it.
Potentially music, yeah.
Yeah, or use it.
Oh, use it, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Matt Coyle giving you some props right now. He's watching the show.
Thanks, Matt. Hey, Matt, I brought a big pile of our Buy Fresh, Buy Local guides that I left here at the studio.
There you go.
Shout out to Buy Fresh, Buy Local. Matt's our local food coordinator.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Let me throw this to you here. This might be a dumb question. This is from me. Do parks generate revenue? Are they cash flow positive entities for municipalities, or are they strictly losing revenue entities that are seen as quality of life options for people living in the municipality?
Right. So cash losing amenities, thinking about it that way is sort of a dead end. So we have parks because they're necessary to be alive, right? So in order to be healthy, in order to be to live up to our potential, parks are infrastructure. So to the extent that a road is a cash-losing enterprise, parks a much better investment. To the extent a sewer pipe is a cash-losing investment, okay, they both are. But parks also generate revenue, and I just have to keep hammering forth that the park and the experience is the beginning of a lot of economic activity that results in kids not getting sick and missing school, and mom having to miss a day's work because she's taking care of the kid who ought to be in school, and yeah, on and on and on.
Jennifer says, Jerry, you missed the point when it comes to the money. The park adds value to Albemarle. In fact, when the park opens, all the real estate around the park should increase in value, where the revenue could be generated there for Albemarle County.
Perhaps, and I think in any case, the residents of Albemarle County have spoken very clearly that they think parks, and especially well-connected park greenway infrastructure is a great investment, and I think they know what they're talking about.
What park in this area do you see as being the best use of like the land and the park itself? Like the options it's offering residents or taxpayers?
What a great question. So I love this idea of a park that could be used for many different things.
Yeah.
So that's maybe different than the question of what's your favorite park, Peter. So I think...
I guess it's what's the most versatile park?
Yeah. I would say the McIntyre Park complex is the one that's the most versatile. And it's going to get better and better as the Botanical Garden gets built and the trails get built out. And one of the reasons why McIntyre is so great is not only all that you can do there, but because of where it is. It's where the people are. So one time in an informal poll, someone asked me, what's your favorite park? I just blurted out Shenandoah National Park.
That's a great park.
Great park.
Yeah.
But even I, trailhead, how often do I even experience that?
A couple times a year?
A couple times a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a park someone could go to every day, every week. McIntyre or Biscuit Run. Biscuit Run is right adjacent to where a lot of people live.
This is an interesting question from Spencer. Jerry, ask your guest his take on Walnut Creek Park. I always thought that park could offer more for us on that side of town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so funny you should mention that. So my wife grew up in Scottsville. So I've watched Walnut Creek evolve over its whole lifespan. I'm a runner. I'm a hiker. But to be honest, I find Walnut Creek's trails a little gnarly, even for my taste. And
I'm a mountain biker, and they're tough.
They're tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as tough as O Hill, but they're tough.
Yeah, and so when I'd be staying with my in-laws down in Scottsville, we'd swim at the beach there often. That was fun. I'd even go for a run on the trails and then jump in the lake. How fun is that?
Yeah.
But I have to say, the more people I talk to, the more I find interest in trails and greenways that are suitable for grandmas, people pushing strollers, people in strollers, and the Walnut Creek trails are not that.
This is an interesting question, okay? I've never really thought about this, and this is what I appreciate about social media is like when you do a show like this, anything can kind of come up. This is from Laura. She says, Jerry, technically, by the letter of the law, the downtown mall is a park. Can you ask your guest if Piedmont Environmental Council does anything from an influence with the downtown mall and its best use? And please ask your guest what he thinks the best use of the downtown mall is. So the downtown mall is actually a park.
I know. So that, okay. Am I allowed to change my vote?
You can change anything you want, because you're saying that might be the most versatile part.
It's
the mall.
Up there. It's up there.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about the downtown mall is the downtown mall is a promenade. It's a place to see and be seen. The downtown mall was built to bring people together, and it contains subtle features that make it possible to bring people together. So here's just a subtle example. I don't know if people know, but there's a designated fire lane that goes through the downtown mall between the gray-colored bricks. It's a serpentine winding road that they're not allowed to set tables up or anything in this fire road. Yeah, and so it's this winding thing that goes down there. When Halpern designed the downtown mall, he made this winding path so that you would be facing people in the cafes. And it happened to me one time. I was sitting with my buddy having a beer at Miller's.
Okay.
And this woman walked by, overheard us talking about Greenways, and was super interested, became my most effective volunteer I've ever had.
Shut the front door.
And the reason she heard me is because when Halpern designed the park, he designed it so her walking path would bring her up into earshot of what I and my buddy were talking about.
And it worked.
And it worked. So the downtown mall is a world-class park. People come from all over the world to study how the downtown mall is designed.
What would you do better for the mall was also the question. Or is this the better use, the best use is the question, to be exact?
Yeah, so I think one thing that's different about the downtown mall versus McIntyre Park, all parks have an economic implication, as I stated before, whether it ranges from making people healthy to selling hot dogs.
This one's a lot more expensive to maintain.
Well, this one has a lot more going on economically, and it's safe to say. I think there's a lot of economic activity in the downtown mall. I would like to have opportunities for lingering that are not so focused on eating
Spending
and
money.
drinking. And
So you want to see
spending
some
money.
more benches on the mall?
Perhaps, yeah.
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 Well, and I'm playing devil's advocate for the sake of a talk show. This is not what I feel.
Right.
This is a devil's advocate for talk show purposes. The removal of the benches was because, as we both know,
Right.
there were a lot of houseless individuals congregating on the benches.
Right. But, yeah.
Because it's now houseless is the preferred nomenclature.
But it also, taking those benches away also means there are fewer seniors taking a break.
Touche.
You know, so it's a balance, and I'm not the manager of the downtown mall, but my own opinion is it would be nice to be able to linger without buying stuff. I spend plenty of money on the downtown mall, and I'm happy to do it, but it would also be nice to be able to take the load off from time to time without consuming either something with sugar, caffeine, or alcohol.
There you go. That's a reasonable statement from Peter Krebs right there. Bill McKenzie says that is the Piedmont Botanical Garden. They took McIntyre's name off the garden.
So that is technically true, but I was referring to the McIntyre Park complex, right? Which includes the softball fields, it includes the skate park, and the folks who are building the Botanical Garden had a great crowdsourced competition to come up with a new name, and their name, which is one that is precise because it talks about what it is and where it is the Piedmont, the Botanical Garden of the Piedmont. He's correct.
Another one for you. This is for Brian. Jerry, I'm listening to you guys on Spotify at work. Please ask Mr. Krebs how the Rivanna Trail can be integrated or utilized more with some of the ideas he's presenting today.
So I think the ultimate vision for Rivanna Trail 2.0, if you will, would be to have more options for people who are casual trail users, again with a stroller, a bike with training wheels, a walker, like we have at Riverview Park, existing in parallel with a little bit more rugged, a little bit more secluded place to full-on hike with, poles, or like trail run or mountain bike. We call that a braided network, where you have these different types of experiences interacting with each other. Yeah, so Riverview Park has a little bit of that getting going. The city acquired some land. The Piedmont Environmental Council helped acquire this land on between Azalea Park and Sunset on the far side of the creek. So right now there's a streamside trail that's very flat, and there's some fun, rolly mountain biking trails in the hills alongside. That would be my ultimate vision.
Riverview Park, for those that are asking, is 26.6 acres. Dardental, for those who are asking, that think it could compete with Biscuit Run, it cannot.
No.
Dardental is 113 acres. So I think we found a clear-cut largest park in Albemarle, which is Biscuit Run. And to put it in perspective, Biscuit Run, if you add Pretty Creek to Walnut Creek from a size standpoint, Pretty Creek and Walnut Creek size combined does not equal Biscuit Run size.
Right.
So that shows how big that is. Another question for you. You're a popular guy here. Peter Krebs, and we're talking about
A
the
legend
stuff
in my own mind.
We're talking about stuff that you love, right? Outside parks.
love it.
Yeah. Okay. So this one right here is asking about Dardantel Park and wondering if it's performing to its peak or its best efficiency. That's a good question.
It is a good question, and it's not one that that I could answer. I will say that Dardantel Park is sort of an under the radar awesome place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you say it's under the radar? Because it's often empty.
Yeah.
Is that why?
Well, it's not the most talked about place, but walking along the river there is incredible. Yeah.
The river, the Rivanna River. Did I see on Facebook? Was it last week that you parked your car upriver? Did you ride your bike? Did you go for a swim? Did you do some crunches and some push-ups and a work? What did you do, Peter Krebs?
All right. So I just got a kayak. I joined, the stampede of people getting kayaks. So I dropped my kayak off at Dardantel Park.
Okay.
Took my car back to Riverview Park.
Okay.
Then I ran along the awesome trail from
Riverview
Park back up to Dardantel, got in my boat, and paddled down.
That's awesome.
It took me about 2 hours. It was
round trip?
Yeah, for the full thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, in and out of my car. It was so great.
And you got a hell of a workout. Two different kinds of workouts.
Got a double workout, but it wasn't a tough one. I was riding downstream. It was an easy paddle.
How long was the run from Riverview Park to Dardantel?
About 2.5 miles.
That's not bad.
No, it's not bad.
And then you got in the kayak, and then you go downstream.
It was a nice day. I was able to just splash water on my face.
You had the wind going through your hair, Peter?
It was awesome. There were tons of other boaters out there. There was one woman who was working a stand-up paddle board, but she was also pulling litter out of the river. So she was piling a little pile of river on the bow of her stand-up canoe. It was stand-up paddleboard. It was kind of cool.
Sally Ann says, Jerry, please welcome this guest back to the show. I love the outside talk. Please ask your guest about the Rivanna River. I've thought it could be utilized a lot more for this community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so folks, there's actually a study going on now, a Rivanna River corridor study. I think the best thing, again, would be simply Google Rivanna River study.
I'm doing that right now.
And
Rivanna River study.
Yeah.
Okay.
And folks can share their own ideas about how it might be better.
This is the Urban Rivanna River Corridor Plan?
Correct, which is the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission's running that study.
First link, you were right.
Yeah, so if you're interested in...
Oh, you're totally right. So this is the project summary. Peter Krebs is on point. The Urban Rivanna River Corridor Plan is a joint effort between the City of Charlottesville and Albemarle County, along with other stakeholders, to develop a vision and action plan for the Rivanna River.
Right. So ought there be economic activity there similar to or harmonious with the Rivanna River Company? Should the shoreline be better preserved? Are there historic resources that should be highlighted? Folks can share their own opinion about those questions by checking out this study.
What do you think should happen? You have ideas, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. So I would love to see the Rivanna River become a little bit more a heart of what Charlottesville's about.
Yeah.
So when I first started coming here, the Rivanna River was kind of at the back of public life. But
what do you mean by that? Like it was forgotten?
A little bit forgotten. It was something that was for people in the know. And then a Riverview Park opened, and a lot more people started getting down there. And now I think it's an oasis for many people. I know that when I know I'm about to have a hard day, I'll often go for a run down along the river and get myself right before a hard day's work. Yeah.
This comment, the business And the business is the Rivanna River Company, right?
Correct.
Okay. So the listener says the business that's tied to the river would seem like a good starting point for getting the river up to speed for us. And I think he's referencing the Rivanna River Company.
He could be, yeah, he could be. But I think there are other ways to imagine businesses that are tied to the river than just that.
For example?
For example, eating an ice cream cone while you walk alongside the river.
Yeah.
That would, like I was saying, parks have economic activity ranging from a hot dog stand to the downtown mall.
Mike McAdams, who watches and listens to this show, has suggested, and I think I brought this up to you on the first rodeo when you were on virtually, but he suggested taking the Charlottesville portion next to the Rivanna River and making it kind of like a river walk like we see in other cities.
Yeah, so...
Did I bring that up the first time?
Might have. It's something that I hear periodically.
You do?
So there's a balance between building, making accessible the river's edge, to the fact that a river is a dynamic, living entity. So I'm not in favor of tons of paving or impounding the river in any kind of way. Other cities like San Antonio, where you see a river walk, is trying to make lemonade out of lemons. The river's already been impounded. We've got a river that flows, and not the way it originally did, but it's not impounded. I personally think that the natural boundaries that the river has are the appropriate ones. What I would like to see a little bit better is intentional built ways to bring people to the edge of the river, rather than them sort of pushing their way through vegetation and creating what we'd call like social access points. One example of the negative of that was when I was on that paddle that we were talking about, I saw a man who was bathing in the water, and not bathing, he was swimming, wading, whatever he was doing, not taking a bath. But in that zone, the banks are very steep, and his wife or his partner was up on the bank, maybe 8 feet higher than he was, and she was kind of laughing at him because he couldn't get back out of the river because he had sort of slid down the way a beaver enters the river, but then it was just this muddy, super steep slope. And number one, like, I'm all about dignity, and that's messed up, right? But it's also not good for the river to have that activity happening.
Peter Krebs cracking jokes over here on the show. This one right here from Steven says, tell Peter to put his kayak in Milton and run from Riverview Park to Milton. That's a longer ride. That's like 20 miles, isn't it? It might not be 20. But
no.
That Milton's by what, the Clifton?
Yeah, so that would be like...
probably like 10.
10.
Yeah.
That's already my plan.
Oh, you were going to do that?
I'm going to do that.
You're going to drop your kayak off at Milton and run from Riverview Park to Milton?
I'm not going to tell you how I would do that, but yes.
That would be legit.
Yeah.
How would you run that?
I'm not going to tell you.
So you'd have to go... Would you go up Pantops?
I would follow the Old Mills Trail, which follows the Rivanna River on the county side.
There you go.
Which is that underappreciated park I was talking about. Sometime, viewers, if you haven't already done this, go park in Dardental at the canoe put-in and just walk down the river. It's awesome. It's like there's 2.5 miles of riverside walk that's like what you have at Riverview Park, but a little more secluded and way less crowded.
Jen Daughtry, I think we've already answered this, Jen. She wants to know your favorite park. Is that the question you get all the time?
Yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah.
Not fair.
He doesn't want to pick a favorite park.
The downtown mall.
Yeah. You said that's the most versatile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. In terms of where I spend time, I guess it would have to be the downtown mall.
You're a cool dude. I like this guy, Peter Krebs. Yeah, what's the book?
Yeah, so one of the other things that happened since the last time is we had a virtual book event with the authors Ralph Bueller and John Pucher, Cycling for Sustainable Cities.
This is PEC?
Yeah, so
Okay.
PC hosted this event a week ago today, and you can learn more about this event and watch the video by going to our website, pecva.org.
Do you prefer PEC?
pecva.org.
Okay, gotcha.
Is the website /Seville Greenways.
Okay.
And I don't know if you can see this website on the card, but I'll put it in the comment.
Okay.
So this book talks about what works in other countries and what works in other cities in America to make cycling safe and a part of everyday life. It's case studies. It's an easy read because each case study is maybe 12 pages. So, perfect reading.
Thank
this
you.
copy's for you.
You're
Yes.
a good man. Thank
Yes.
you, Piedmont Environmental Council and
Yeah.
Peter Krebs. I will legitimately read this. I love to read, and this is a topic that I'm passionate about. How about this? And an hour has flown by with you. You were good in this setting, and isn't it so much better in person?
Yes, way better.
It's like way better. How about for all that are watching, a final word? Anything you want to talk about?
So number one, get outdoors, enjoy the beautiful Virginia countryside. And if you're passionate, like I am, about the outdoors, get involved. You can find out about our work, again, at that website, pecva.org/Seville Greenways. Show up to public meetings. There's always something going on. We have a Facebook group, which is Charlottesville, Albemarle Greenways. You can get involved that way. And, make a stink for more places to walk and bike outdoors.
You were fantastic today.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time.
Fun.
It was fun.
It was so good.
It was so
I
fun.
love it.
Nicholas Erpy, hello and welcome to the broadcast. For those that are asking, two people are that we see. The show is archived on iloveseville.com and all the social media platforms. So if you're just tuning in and you want to learn more about what we were talking about, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, on our website, and any of the social media platforms. Other people are asking if we can get Peter back on the show. I will say I will do my hardest to do that. I am very mindful of people's times as well, their most precious commodity. Jennifer Navarra says, this is one of your best shows yet, Jerry. Please tell your guests.
That's so awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the book and for the knowledge.
Yeah.
Judah, anything for you, sir? Should we get a photo? Did we get a photo of Peter? We did. We did. Thank you, sir. He's multimedia right there.
Yeah.
Friday, guys, keep it local, keep it safe, keep it clean, be mindful in the environment. Golden rule with your mindset, please. Get outside, as Peter said, and let's realize that while we're coming out of this pandemic, there's still a lot of uncertainty and vulnerability, so we should be mindful of our fellow man and our fellow female because we don't know where they are from a mental state right now.
Be kind, right?
Be kind. That's a better way of saying it. Just be
Yeah.
kind.
Yeah.
We're not out of this thing yet. Just be kind to people. All right, you guys have a good weekend. We're back on Monday with the chair of the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission.
Okay.
Keith Smith?
Okay.
Keith Smith in the mix, isn't he the chair?
Okay.
He's one of the. He's on so many committees.
Yeah.
He's on one of them. All right, we're back on Monday with Keith Smith, guys. You guys have a good weekend. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to see what.
So we still on?
He's going to let us know.
Okay.
Let me hold on one second.